Hello again, and welcome back to my channel. I'm PlaidPagan, and this week I want to do a book review. This book is a book I've wanted to talk about for a while, but just haven't really been brave enough to talk about. It deals with some pretty heavy subject matter, but the reason I want to talk about it is because this book had a lasting effect on me. It's a book I've read twice, and it's one of the few books that's been able to actually invoke several emotions in me at the same reading session. The book I'm talking about is Stephen King's Bag of Bones. This was published in 1996. I did not read it until early 2000s. I was a teenager. Even though it was recommended to me because it's fucking terrifying, this book also is scary for more than just the ghosts. So before I go into this book a whole lot, I want to kind of just give like major trigger warnings here. This book deals with a lot of hardcore shit. So I'm not going to go into any of the details, obviously, because I'll be going into spoilers and I don't want to get into that territory, nor do I want to actually discuss what happens in this book. So I'm just going to give a few trigger warnings here. This book does contain several disturbing things. There is sexual violence in this. There is child murder in this. And there's also some very severe racial matters. Not like the kind of stuff that I looked at in Mexican Gothic, where it was just kind of a overlook, like someone who just thought they were better than other people. This is straight up hate crimes. So there's some heavy duty shit in this book. So the basic plot of the book follows a character named Michael Noonan. Now, Michael Noonan is a writer who's suffering from writer's block because his pregnant wife, Jo, just recently passed away from a brain aneurysm, just suddenly up and died. And he didn't obviously take it well. He's very confused. He now has writer's block. So in order to kind of confront himself, basically, he's going to stay at this lake house that him and his wife used to stay at all the time. I forget the exact name. He goes by the nickname Sarah Laughs. Now, I don't remember the actual... It's some lake house in Maine. Most of King's books take place in Maine. That's not really a surprise to anybody. Upon arriving at the lake house, he is introduced to the DeVore family. Now, he meets Maddie and Kira. These are the granddaughter and daughter-in-law of a real fucking piece of shit human being named Max DeVore. Now, Max DeVore is all kinds of piece of shit. This guy is a controlling narcissist. He is your typical rich, entitled white guy. He inflicts hate crimes, covers them up, and he basically is just trying to make Maddie's life a living fucking hell by trying to steal custody of Kira. Now, Maddie's husband, who is Max DeVore's son, has died. And because of that, he's trying to paint Maddie as some kind of, white trash, garbage mother, and he's trying to get the legal power to take over custody of Kira, which is the granddaughter. His exact motivations for wanting Kira, I don't exactly remember. I'm pretty sure it's just because he wants to hurt people. Like, he hates this Maddie chick, and he's just a fucking horrible human being. So he thinks the fun thing to do is to tear apart a mother and her child. Basically, Max DeVore is a piece of shit. And most of his cronies and people that he knows are also pieces of shit. Now, this guy is rich enough that he pretty much controls the whole area, so no one will ever speak out against him. No one will ever make a move again to make him look bad, and that is shown through the whole book. Now, this guy just basically keeps control over everything. So after the stuff with the DeVore family, Mike decides he wants to help Maddie out with one of his lawyers to help fight in the custody battle. This all happens relatively quick. This is pretty early in the novel. Once Mike goes back to the lake house, some time here and there, basically, it turns out he's being haunted. There's 2 hauntings going on specifically. I think there's a few more that are happening in the house. One turns out to be his wife, and he figures that out pretty quickly by certain things that she does. Certain ways she tries to communicate with him. Now, she's trying to help him solve this situation, this mystery that she was looking into while she was alive, but she died in the middle of researching it, and now she's trying to guide him to finish solving the mystery. The other ghost we don't really find out about until later in the story, but it's a vengeful, angry, typical wanting to inflict pain on people ghost. And there's a good fucking reason for that. So I can't really talk about much else without spoiling the book. I will say this though, it is an excellent book. It's kind of hefty, it's long, and the subject matter that it deals with makes it hard to digest at points. But I've never before reading a book felt sad. Like this book legitimately brought me to tears at parts. I've never felt so angry. Like this, I wanted to throw this book at several points because there's so many injustices, and I mean characters that you like. It pisses me off, and I don't think I've ever felt so angry reading a book as I did with this one. There's a lot of stuff that happens, not just the hate crimes and the sexual violence. There's other things that happen that piss me off as well. So there's this whole, you really fucking hate the DeVore family. Once you realize just how involved he is and what he is doing, he's a piece of shit. I've said it over and over again. It's because it's true. This guy's a scumbag. Like, there's no redeeming traits about this guy, and King is not shy about making him look terrible, and he does. I'm treading the content of this book very carefully because, like I said, it's got a lot of heavy-duty stuff, and I don't want to seem like I'm a supporter of any of that type of thing. But the fact is that it is a powerful story. It is a very good book. If you can get past the very difficult subject matter, it is definitely worth a read. This book did scare the shit out of me. There are several very scary parts. There are several very warm and almost, I wouldn't say romantic, but there's very, if you've ever felt love in your life towards another human being, like strong, like true, legitimate love, I think that certain scenes in this book will definitely stir you. There are pretty intense feelings in this book of love, hate, sadness. It's just all over the place. It's a rainbow of fucking emotion. And that's not a bad thing. Like I said, I've read this book twice and I enjoyed it. However, I've never had anybody that I've recommended this book to come back at me and say, "What the fuck did you recommend this for?" But it is something that I am aware of, that is delicate subject for a lot of people, and I don't want to seem like I'm being ignorant to that or insensitive. So just pointing it out that these things are in this book. They are not glorified. They are not even romanticized. They are treated like horrible things. The pages are actually hard to read because of how intense they are. And yeah, if you're like me, you feel sick reading it. I felt sick reading the particular events that were happening that towards the end, and it's difficult, but I'd say that the whole package is worth it because of how powerful the novel is as a whole. So yeah, that's Bag of Bones. Kind of heavy. Yeah, I was really nervous to talk about it, like I said, because I didn't know what I was going to be walking into. I feel like I was stirring up a fucking hornet's nest with this. There's one other book I wanted to review. I decided to go with this one instead. So my next book review will actually be a book by Clive Barker. I've got most of Clive Barker's books, but there's two in particular that I want to talk about. Both are later works of his, and I'm very passionate about both of them for very different reasons, so I'm looking forward to discussing them on the channel. But until then, you guys take care of yourselves, be safe, and I'll catch you next time.